right, and we are live. Oh my goodness, you guys know that I'm always so excited to be here with you guys. I'm so excited. With my sister friend is on tonight, and she's doing some great things. You know, I like to bring you women who can help influence you, encourage you, inspire you, empower you, help you move from broke, put them pieces back together. And all of you are not broken, but we all need a little tweaking every now and then. And so I'm so happy to have entrepreneur, visionary CEO Lisa Skinner on this platform tonight. You guys know what we have to do. We have to take that right hand, that left hand, place it on your heart, your mind, your soul, and give yourself a bravo. Yeah. Oh my God. Give yourself a big bravo just because. And I say just because you don't need permission from anyone to encourage yourself. Sometimes there's no one around to encourage yourself. And sometimes there's people all around you and they don't see what's going on the inside. They only see this kind of cute stuff on the outside. And that's all right for a certain point. But the real thing is for us to not be shallow women, to be powerful women inside out. And so thank you so much for being here tonight. I am so excited with our guest tonight. Her name is Lisa Skinner, CEO of the Seamoss Factory. We're so excited. And so I'm so grateful that you accepted the invitation. Thank you, Lisa, for being here. I really appreciate you accepting the invitation.
I am honored to be here. You and I have been friends a long time. And, sometimes our paths don't cross, but we know in our heart that we're thinking of one another. And I'm just so honored to reconnect with you on such an awesome platform.
Yes. I'm loving the look. I'm loving when I saw the new look, I was like, okay.
Yes, we got work to do. I don't have time to be spending hours in the hair salon getting my little extensions.
And I know you. Sometimes you be like, okay, this got to come off, this such and such. One thing about you, you are not vain. Now you cute and you do your deed, but you do your thing now. You do your thing, but you have a pure heart and you're authentic. And when I saw your new look, I said, see, you're talking about a bold sister, but it's working.
But you know what? I'll tell you this. I'll share this with you and a few others. I thought I was shaving my head because there's a friend of mine who was going through cancer treatments, and a few of our besties, we shaved our heads in solidarity.
Yeah.
And when it was time to let it start growing back so I could get those weaves, God was like, don't do it. I was like, what, Lord? Not my weaves? Are you kidding me? So he said no. So, we try to find a loophole. He said no weaves. I said he didn't say wigs. So I started wearing my wigs. And then one day I just felt so convicted. I was in the car and I flung it out the window and it started going down the highway and I never looked back. But I realized it was to help other women who have come up to me and said, how were you able to do that? I've been wanting to do it for years. I have alopecia. I have all these kind of things, which in my family, we do lose hair in about our 40s and 50s.
Yes.
And I told them my story, and some have been shaving. They're like bold groups on Facebook.
So encouraging. I have a friend from when I grew up in the projects in 15th Street, on 15th Street, and her name is Deborah Brown. They call her Mama Deb. They have a group of women. And they go on different platforms in the summer. They travel everywhere. And each one of them have a story. And all of them have a bald head from whatever situation they went through. And Deborah happened to have had, I think, leukemia or something. And she says one day she was on the bus and someone was making fun of her because she didn't have hair, whatever. She said, and that really crushed her. But then she found her niche in it. And so they go around and they speak poetry on different stages about your beauty, without hair. And I'm so sorry, can't think of their name right now, but they're around a group of maybe 7 women that travel everywhere, encouraging people with cancer or certain situations that cause them to lose their hair, to show them that you are bald and beautiful.
Yes. For me, it was liberating. I felt like I was directed by God to do so. Spend too much time and money and resources on a look and a hair, but I'm the same person with it or
There
without.
you go.
And when you get mature, you learn, and
That's
it's
true.
kind of a hit now.
Yeah.
People like it, so I'm okay with it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. When I saw you, I
Thank
said,
you.
now that is beautiful. And I thought
Thank
of Deb when I saw you. I said, wow,
Mhm.
Deb, another one, I was like, okay, this is a good thing. So, but you've always been a confident sister anyway. You know who you are. And
Yes.
that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on the platform, because I know you've been through a lot of different changes in different places in your life. And I know that you have broke ceilings, and now you have broke through barriers. And so that's why one of the reasons, it's just so much to talk about with you. So for the viewers, those that you will see this later, we've already established that she will be back for a part 2. It's impossible. It's absolutely
Yeah.
impossible to have one sitting with CEO Lisa Skinner. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
We good.
Good. God is good. I'm glad
Yeah.
it didn't shut the computer down. So
Mhm.
let's jump into this conversation. Let's jump into who is Lisa Skinner. Let's go back a little bit so the viewers can
Mhm.
understand where you were raised, where you come from, a little bit about what you're about before we jump into our CMOS healthy
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Harlem, 141st Drew Hamilton Projects. It's when you reflect and think back. Grew up in the projects, but then families were close. We looked out for one another. We ran. We didn't
Yes.
really lock our doors. We went from apartment to apartment. I grew up
Yes.
an only child, so I was always at the neighbor's house that were full of kids and what have you. And it was an experience for us because we had that sense of community, closeness.
Yes.
Um, you know, it's nothing like today. We looked out for one another and just that bonding of family and representing your block. So I've
Right.
had great experiences growing up in
Awesome.
Harlem. Yeah.
What was that like growing up the only child? That they have this thing, the only child syndrome,
Hmm.
because you play with yourself, you have imaginary friends, you entertain yourself. What was that like for you? You enjoyed going to families that had other
Absolutely. I
okay.
thought my parents were selfish. I was like, we need more kids in the house. But the thing is, I realized back then we called ourselves latchkey children. And
Right.
remember, you had your key around your neck with the
Right.
one key to get in the house.
Right.
And I believe that's where a lot of my imagination came from. My
Mm,
parents worked long hours. I had my dinner there to heat up, and you just play your games with yourself. And I always felt a presence protecting me. I never felt
wow.
afraid. I never felt alone. So when I reflect on those childhood years, I always felt like I was never alone. There was a presence around me. In fact, that presence I would refer to as God.
Yes.
And I remember having conversations with God as if a person was there. So I never
Mm,
felt alone. Never felt
interesting.
alone.
That's
Never
good.
felt
That's
alone.
good. So you were tapping into the Lisa at a young age.
Hmm.
You know, that's awesome. So go ahead, continue.
Yeah. And so when you hear other people's stories, particularly when people talk about themselves growing up or whatever their situations, it's not unusual for God to be in a child's presence, whatever their predicament or situation. I think what makes our connection with God very fuzzy is when we grow up and life takes its
Mm,
course. We
makes
forget
sense.
about our spiritual connection, and it almost seems ludicrous to be in connection with an entity you can't see, feel, or
Mm,
touch
mm-hmm.
in the natural sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so sometimes even as an adult, we have to get quiet and get in spaces where we feel connected.
Yeah, that's important,
Yeah,
because the disconnect feeling is a wilderness feeling.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
good. That's good. Don't start
Mhm.
preaching on here, Lisa.
Yeah, yeah. We have to, you know what? It's very
Do
interesting. All of the guests I've seen on your shows, as they flourish, people have to realize that life is a journey, and we seem to think that if we do all things well, if we stay connected with God, that bad
Mhm.
things won't happen. And
Huh.
that's a falsehood.
Oh
We
yeah.
have to understand life is life. And, I think people get disconnected from God when things don't go their way, when they don't see it as an opportunity to build
True.
strength, character. And just when I think I've overcome another thing, here's another
Here's
challenge.
another thing.
You
Yes.
have to reflect that you got through the last thing so you can
There
get
you
through
go.
the thing. So yeah, and it's just the journey. So when you say, okay, maybe God doesn't like me because all these things are happening to me, and say, listen, this is life, and I'm going to navigate through it, and I'm going to be
Yes.
my best part of myself. Maybe these things that happen in life are to put you closer to yourself and make not even better decisions, but make decisions, period. Because
Yes. Absolutely.
either way you go, whatever decisions you make, you have to know that you still have an opportunity to do things differently.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the end all be all do all. If you make choices, you can switch gears at any
You got
time.
to keep moving. Yes.
Keep
Keep it
it moving.
moving.
You always said that for years. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
And when it just doesn't look too good, you
Not
just
at all.
move. Because guess what? You're gonna run into something. And
Something.
and that's kind of how I ran into the Seamoss business.
Okay. 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 When you would you like to share about that? Would you
Well,
like to talk first about your children,
yeah.
or
So
let's
I
help, because they're beautiful and they, you went through a serious time. I watched you with them in ballet school,
yeah,
and that whole blunder that
yes,
really sent you like on a whole, once you saw the mistreatment, not just for your children.
for
Talk about
yeah.
that.
Well, I'll talk about that. So, your audience may or may not know I'm a recent graduate of Union Theological Seminary here in New York. I got an MDiv in theology, which is every time I say it, I like crack up laughing. That's how you know there is a God, because I'm like, oh, you want me to go to seminary? This is like an all-time joke. But with that being said, I think this is the first time I'm saying this publicly. It's a 3-year full-time program. My first semester, I think I applied to be obedient, Madam Sheila. And I was like, please don't get accepted. So at least I was obedient. I did the application, they denied me, and I could keep it moving. And I'm sitting on my computer and the email pops up, you've been accepted. I was like,
Oh my. You thought you was free.
I thought I was free. So I went the first semester, that would be fall 2018. And it seemed like everything in the planet started coming at me, that I literally, the classes that I didn't withdraw from, um, I literally failed. I remember being in class taking tests going, Lord, you told me to be here. If you want me to pass this test, you're going to deposit all this knowledge in my head. God has a sense of humor. God was like, girl, you're going to fail this exam. So after that first semester, I had to do some soul searching. I said, God, I know you told me to go to be here. And I just had to put the big girl panties on, kind of
Yes.
retweak how I scheduled family life, study life. It was
Right.
a lot of working through the night into the daylight and then having to turn around, grab some coffee. And I made it through that second semester.
Yeah.
And then the challenge became I wanted to graduate on time. So I started going through the summers, intercession, which are the classes you can take between,
Okay.
winter break and fall. And I said, I'm getting out there on time. Matter of fact, I had 2 extra credits to spare.
Wow. Okay. Bravo to you.
Time to graduate. So it was a journey, but I think it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But at the same time, raising 2 small children, Brooke and April, that's my 10 and 11-year-old.
Brooke in April.
Brooke and
Yeah.
April. Then I have let me think, Ria's 32-ish or something. But
Uh-huh.
she's on her own. She's doing her PR work, and she
Yes.
doesn't ask for money. So I guess she's doing pretty good.
Yes. So proud of her. Bravo to Ria
Yes,
as
he's
well.
doing well. And I have a grandson. He's 5 years old.
I was getting ready to say he should be about 5 right
He's
now.
about 5. He's amazing. He's amazing. Just amazing. These kids are
Yes.
so bright and intelligent. And the things they're able to do at that age, like order off Amazon off their mom's accounts.
Exactly.
She's like, Lisa, these boxes are coming to the house.
They can do that at 3.
They can do it. They can do it. So, what was interesting in reference to what you were referring to, Brooke and April were victims of hair discrimination. They were expelled from their ballet school, unfortunately, in Harlem, a Black owned business. And clearly, the school was not aware of the new Crown Acts and the hair laws that went into effect in New York in January of that
Uh-huh.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So all I wanted was the girls to be able to perform in the Black Nutcracker, which would have been this would have been the third year
Mm-hmm.
they would have been in the performance. I guess that happened in
Yeah.
2019. And I called every politician and everyone to connect with the school to say, just let them perform. Because they had been wearing, no one had really ever seen their hair because they have so much of it. Their hair is braided all the time. It's like taken
Right.
out, wash, rebraided it. It's just something that makes our weekly life easier.
Right. Right.
Particular year, she did not want braids in the performance, and I couldn't understand why, because even though it's the Black Nutcracker, there's a whole African segment in the middle of this performance with, uh, African garb, the
The,
drums, the
the
stilts.
drums. Right.
Yes, it's the same performance every year. So
Right.
I could not understand. I even, said to her, are you aware what message this sends to our little Black and brown girls that their hair is not beautiful? And I thought this was a platform that they could be themselves,
Right.
because too often they're mimicking European styles and lifestyles. And I'm like, wow, this is, interesting. So even though I did not want to do so, I was forced to go to the media. Unbeknowing, the story went viral
It
uh,
did.
in other states, other blogs and magazines, and the case was picked up by the New York City Commission on Human Rights. So we're literally just waiting for a decision, like in the next, few days on the case. But um, on both parts, it was unfortunate. No one wins in this situation because the girls who worked so hard didn't get a chance to perform. The school got reprimanded for discriminatory acts. We're in this 2-year long case, and it's just unfortunate because I feel like it's sending the wrong message. The
Oh my
girls,
God.
surprisingly, were pretty cool because being in a union at the time, they heard a lot of social justice discussion, organizational, discrimination, systematic discrimination, justices. So they were very familiar with the terminology, and now they're like,
Well, look at their mom. I'm sure.
this is what's going on with us. But what they didn't understand is that this could also happen in your own community, not just by another race. So
But
that,
emotionally, how did that affect them? Wait a minute. So, how old were they? This was just 2019,
yeah,
right?
the
And how
winter, yeah. So they were like, I guess, 9 and 10ish
nine
at
and
the
ten.
time.
And so they're all excited about being in the Nutcrackers.
Hmm.
They're ballet. You have them in this wonderful school,
Hmm.
doing their thing, getting the culture, every
Yeah,
culture. And all
absolutely.
of a sudden, this lady, the director, obviously comes
Hmm.
and says, "Well, you're going to have to put their hair in a bun. You got
Yeah,
to take the braids out and put the ballet bun in
the
these
traditional
young ladies."
bun.
Right. And that's where the fight started. And I don't
Yeah,
mean
that's where the
physical, but
fight
that's
started.
when it rolls up and you're like,
Hmm.
first of all, you have African drums inside of the Black Nutcracker. You
I
have
could
our
not make the
culture
connection.
embedded inside of this dance piece. And you're telling me that my daughters cannot perform unless I take their braids out. So now, what is that sending the signal to them? They must have emotionally, because they're young.
Yeah, and even up to the night, the Pix 11 did the best coverage of the story. And even up to the night of the performance, they had even put on their makeup. They always had braids, but they hadn't gone to get a fresh hairstyle because we knew they were going to be in the show.
Welcome, CKS Beauties. Welcome, Tina.
Yeah.
Bless you. Uh huh.
And what's so strange, because of all the media coverage, some girls showed up with the braids, but she never invited Brooke and April to come. So that's what really made me furious. But Alvin Ailey and some of the other theaters heard about their story. They invited the girls on Christmas Eve to
Oh,
the show. And at the time, one of the major dancers lived in our building. She happened to be performing that evening. So their staff got to take the girls backstage, meet the dancers.
Awesome.
They were able to see Black people that looked like them. And she even had gorgeous braids that were up in a bun, styled really neatly. So I think by them seeing it in action, they knew that they hadn't done anything
They
wrong.
didn't do anything wrong. So you're telling me the director wouldn't allow you to even put a bun in their hair with the braid? She wouldn't even, she wanted a bun. She wanted it her way or no way. That's what you're
She
saying.
wanted no braids. Every year they've performed in the Black Nutcracker, they've had their hair in braided bun styles. So it's literally cornrow up into a bun
Right.
and twisted into the bun, pinned down,
Yes.
so it can't come loose.
Right.
Her argument was that some of the older girls were doing goddess braid versions of the bun that were not stabilized and were coming apart, which I understand. Everyone has to be safe. You can't have buns
Right.
flying all over the place in braids. But if it wasn't directed towards Brooke and April in particular, then you just have to be more specific, saying that the goddess braids tend not to hold as easily as a cornrow style or a
Yes.
single braid style,
Yes.
and just make sure the hair is secure. But you
Yes.
cannot say braids are not permitted in the
Wow.
Black Nutcracker. I'm definitely for, being specific about how it's to be braided,
Right.
particularly for safety issues.
Right.
But to say that they're not culturally acceptable
Whoa.
in their community, that
Whoa.
was pretty rough.
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
So Brooke and were they emotionally, how long because did you see a change? I know everybody stepped in and kind of as the community put their arms around them and Alvin Ailey stepped in, but
Yeah.
you're home with them. What kind of tone?
Oh, they definitely didn't want to dance anymore.
Oh my.
Brooke, to this day, does not want to dance. She decided to pursue singing. But then
Oh,
COVID hit, and it was just like, it was a very rough time for the both of them. And interesting enough, Brooke is the taller of the two who didn't really want to dance and became very good at it. And that just crushed her where she was like, I'm definitely not. April has started to come around. She loves to do contortionist type things. And just this year, I'm going to get them back into some kind of, well, at least April
yeah.
into, but it was devastating. And I don't know if you were aware, there's a photographer by the name of Jermaine Horton who started a project called Art of Confidence, who literally flew from Chicago to do a photo shoot with the girls. And the premise of his not-for-profit program is that children who've been discriminated against, and unfortunately, all of the cases have been about hair discrimination.
Ah,
Yeah, it started with a little girl, Marion, who went to take her school pictures at her predominantly white public school.
yeah.
They forbid her because she had like red braided into her cornrows. So they said that violated their dress code. Meanwhile, other white children are taking pictures with mohawks.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's what started it. And the second child was a 4-year-old who had very long hair, a young Black boy. And the school told his grandmother, who was his caregiver, if you don't cut his hair, then you should put a dress on him and say he's transitioning.
Really?
Yeah. So all of these stories were on social media, and this Jermaine Horton, he's really a wedding photographer, started going to these locations. And when he heard about my girls on Facebook, people were tagging him saying, did you hear about the Harlem girls? And he reached out to me. He said, I'm coming to New York.
I saw the photo shoot he did
He
with
did
them.
the most fabulous 2-day photo shoot.
Yes.
In the chapel where they're wearing their gold and silver ballet outfits was actually in the chapel at Union at my school. They
Okay.
gave us the location to do the photo
Wow.
shoot. So those things help ease the pain, but they never got to perform.
They'll never forget that.
Yeah.
They'll rise above it.
Yeah.
That's a pivotal moment in their life, in their young life.
But I think most of all, and this is the message I would give to other parents, Unfortunately, we live in a time that we have to talk to our small children about what it means to be discriminated against so that they're able to recognize it. And one thing I was so happy, the girls were able to articulate what happened to them,
Ah,
understand that it's not their fault, and that they stood up for themselves as
yes,
children. And I think
yes,
that's something we have to do continuously. It's so sad because we're taking part of their childhood away by bombarding them with adult issues, but we have to because this is the world we live in. They see it on the news,
yes. Wow.
being stopped and killed just because of your color. So these are conversations that we have to have at the dinner table with our children so that they're at minimal aware.
Aware, yeah. Well, I
Hmm.
know you as a parent. I've watched you with the girls since they were very young.
Hmm.
I've watched them be your priority all the
Hmm.
time. So I know that emotionally, little by little, the less they'll walk away with jewels. They
Yeah.
won't walk away as wounded little girls. They'll remember this moment, but at the same time, they know how it is to stand up. You stood up for them. You took it state to state. It got a lot of attention,
Hmm.
and that spotlight was on that director who
Hmm.
who stopped them from a incredible I mean, right at the time they were getting ready to perform.
Yeah. And know what's interesting, Sheila? It was the end of the semester for me for finals and everything. So I was just a mess. And I had to make a choice. I said, do I focus on finals and what have you, or deal with the girls' situation because they're going to look up to me in this situation? So I had to write letters and get extensions and what have you for papers, coursework. But
Yes.
I had to seize the opportunity for this to be a teachable moment for them
Teachable
and
moment.
let them know that I'm going to advocate for them no matter what's going on. So
Right.
things work themselves out, but it really came at just the most horrific time.
Well, you started out in the broadcast. We was talking about when you get through one thing, this
It
major,
just
here
kept
comes,
coming. It's just
like, just
coming. I
gird
said,
up because another one's about to
can't
hit.
stop, won't stop.
That's
Yeah.
so that's such an incredible, and I wanted you to share that story because God only knows how many people out there who children have come home crying from a situation. But something you said that's very important, which is turn it into a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
Take the jewels, leave the junk, I say. Take
Hmm.
the jewels and leave the junk and
Hmm.
turn it into a teachable moment. That is so
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that they're doing good. I'm glad that you finished school, and I'm proud of you. I remember when you wanted to do it way back, we talked about you going to school and
I tried it. I was like, this is not for me. That was like 2013 in my little certificate program. I said, mm-mm.
yeah, you
That's how you
were
know God stays on you and it never leaves you. I said, oh, he said,
Diane
I'll
Bailey
wait.
says, yes, awesome,
I
awesome.
see Diane. How are you?
There's Diane.
Yes,
You
you're
know,
doing
you met
amazing
Diane.
things too. Yes.
Yeah, she's moved on to Charlotte, but we're still in contact.
Yes.
Yeah, she just finished school too. She had a hard time, but she finished.
Yes. That's the
She
thing. We made
finished.
it through the finish line. That's what
So go ahead, go ahead.
that's what's key. It's
Yeah,
you know what I laugh because undergrad it took me forever. I was 1 year on, 2 years off, 1 year back on, 3 years
that's
back
then you're
on.
talking to
But I
Diane now. You're
finished.
talking to the choir. She probably say, Amen. 1 year off, 1 year, 2 years off, 1 year. Listen, but she
Honey,
kept pressing and she kept it moving like
that's
you.
right.
It's not how you start, it's how you
How you
finish.
finish.
It's
And
how you
and you
finish.
cannot compare your educational any journey to anyone. Anything for you in its due time.
It's different.
So
That's
I
that's
just stopped
that's
looking at
different.
what folks doing and just keep on my little road.
Wait, she put up how many years it took her. Look,
That's
seven,
right. But listen,
listen, it's
it's
done.
you're wise through the journey.
Yes,
Hmm.
she didn't quit.
She didn't quit.
She didn't quit.
You know what? It doesn't let you quit. It
Yeah.
doesn't disappear. It just stays there in
And
your
God
gut.
pokes at you and poke. God will poke you and poke you. You
Listen.
try to ignore the poke, and it's like, oh look, I'm gonna live with this poke forever. No, let me just
Mhm.
get this done. Let
Yes.
me be done with it. So
Yes.
yeah, Lisa, that is so powerful. So, like I said, I could jump into a lot of different lanes with you because you've done so many things. But let's talk about, if you want to, you could segue into the Seamoss Factory.
Yes.
Now, I told you I've been a beneficiary of Seamoss, especially in the beginning of COVID. I mean, those of us who eat vegan or who eat plant-based, I'm totally plant-based. Well, you know, I like fish, but I'm plant-based. Right. But I'm saying the smoothies, I've been doing the Seamoss and everything. And so it became like a fad in a sense. People was making Seamoss, didn't even know the benefits. People were selling wax Seamoss for people were selling, shaking up Seamoss and diluting it.
Let me tell you.
So let's talk about how that started. I know, well, you tell how you segue, because I saw you start in the kitchen. You were funny. You started buying your crock pot and you would put your veggies. You said, I'm gonna make the first time I'm making this soup, and you would let us watch you make it. And the kids started, they liked the food and everything. So let's talk about how you segued into this Seamoss and now the Seamoss Factory.
Well, really quickly, I experimented with my vegan journey as well. Plant-based journey, and it was because during the whole, I've had to finish my last year and a half of school virtually. So not only was I home, the kids were home, and I wasn't used to, like, they were like, oh, Mom, we do breakfast. So I'm like doing the lunch lady thing, breakfast. They like AM snack. I'm like, what's AM snack? Then they were like lunchtime. Then they were like PM snack. Then the snack before dinner. I never cooked so much in all of my 52 years of living as I did that, time. So I'm eating with them. And before I knew it, I had blew up an extra 35 pounds. So I was like, oh my goodness, I have to do something drastic. So hence, I said, let me try this vegan thing. But I think we started the challenge with other folks trying to get on board. And I never forget, it was like October 31st. And people were like, oh, I'm going to start after Thanksgiving. But for me, I was only supposed to be trying different, vegan dishes and then officially start after Thanksgiving. But the time from October 31st to Thanksgiving, I was trying so many vegan things and I felt so much better. I had more energy. I was more alert. I started losing the weight. So I told the family, I said, I don't know what we're going to do for Thanksgiving. We're going to do a vegan Thanksgiving. So they had joined the journey, but what I did for them, we didn't have turkey and all that stuff. We had our vegan vegetables, but I did make a huge Atlantic salmon for them, and they had that. I didn't even
good.
Want it. But so where I am now, I still eat plant-based, but I have incorporated fish. So I wouldn't say I'm vegan, which I'm not, because you wouldn't eat fish, but I do eat a plant-based diet.
Yes,
and,
me too.
It's done wonders in terms of energy levels. So how I got into Seamoss, and I'll say this to all the entrepreneurs. Sometimes you fall into a business by recognizing a need and being fed up with the way some people do business that's already in the business. I'll say.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So like you, I was going to various juice bars, different places, nowhere in particular, not just Harlem. And I learned that all Seamoss is not authentic Seamoss.
There you go.
I found out there was something being manufactured in China, different.
There you go. Talk about it.
To mimic the conditions by growing Seamoss on ropes in saltwater tubs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Because when you go into a juice bar, I'm thinking I'm doing stuff good for myself.
Yes.
And I'm spending like $10 on a drink that I may not necessarily have that day. And I'm like, oh, but I'm doing my body good. And I thought about it and I'm like, I don't actually see the raw form of the product before it's made into this whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now I'm like livid. And then I learned of a location that had the fraudulent Seamoss.
The fraudulent Seamoss.
Get money with. So now I'm like really upset about this. So I started doing research, finding out the real origins or whatever. And I think I did research for about 3 to 4 months. Now, the problem at the time is that now you're dealing with import, export.
Yes.
So you have to deal with customs and all kind of things.
Yes.
And I'm also with the internet and so much fraud, I've heard stories that people bought Seamoss and didn't get what they expected. It was the fake. It's very white. It's very chalky.
Yeah.
It doesn't gel, as we call it.
Right.
I met people on the internet that use Seamoss for hair products,
Yes.
skincare lines, and they literally had to stop because they were going to all these internet sources and just getting junk, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I was
Yes.
doing some research and end up hooking up with an association, and I wasn't. And now I had to protect my money. I was ready to go to St. Lucia, to these tropical islands, but there was restricted travel because
Right.
of COVID. So
Right.
I just prayed on the situation, and I spent my little change, and I was able to get what's authentic.
Yes.
But I started going around to different, I just wanted to be a wholesaler.
Okay.
Folks started calling me saying, girl, we ain't got time to be soaking those Seamoss, washing those Seamoss, blending, and they wanted to start to buy it. So I found myself getting up every morning making this Seamoss. But
Yeah.
I wanted to share with the viewers out there that I went to locations, and you have to be very careful. Some had the real stuff and some didn't. What was disheartening is that when I saw that some of our local places were not using good sea moss and said, listen, I can sell you real good merchandise at a low price or whatever, wholesale prices, they were not willing to not necessarily make the purchase for me, but they wanted to pay $3 for the fake stuff. And I was feeling
Oh.
very, very upset about it
Yeah.
because you're in a space of
Absolutely.
health and wellness. So how are you giving people inferior products and calling yourself a health and wellness juice bar, whether it's juice bar, restaurant, or what have you?
Okay.
And
So Lisa, right there, segue and come back to that. Tell the viewers what the benefit of
yes,
Seamoss.
let me tell you, Sheila.
Because some people never heard of it, and some people just say, "Oh, I'm taking Seamoss." Some people have no clue. I know the I know the number of benefits. Please tell the
Yeah,
viewers.
so I'll give you a prime example.
Okay.
So this summer I broke my ankle in a freak accident, and I called my guy. I said, okay, I got this broken ankle. He said, listen, I want you to increase your sea moss. Try to drink anywhere from 24 to 36 ounces a day. So of course not gel, but I would
Right.
move it out so that I can drink it. He said, I promise you would mend faster. So I had my soft cast on for 2 weeks, and I was supposed to have my hard cast on for 6 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
at my 5 week mark with my hard cast, I went in for an x-ray, and the doctor was like, oh my goodness. I was like, what? She was like, you want this thing off today? I was like, a week earlier? She was like, your bone is mended. We can take this off. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He told me that if I consume that sea moss, my bone would mend faster. And I
Yeah.
had told her about it. She said, what is that thing you said you were taking? And we went on to this whole discussion. She Googled it, and my bone mended fast,
Yes.
fast, 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 fast. And even the
Yes.
whole time I was in the cast, I didn't have any pain. And I
Yes.
had a broken fibula at the ankle base. It
Yes.
was a spiral fracture, which meant it went around the whole foot to the fibula.
Wow.
And I had a
Painful. Painful.
painful injury, and that CMOS, it helps with inflammation. I
Uh-huh.
saw a friend of mine who was having very bad bouts with bronchitis, and I said, "Girl, when can I meet you? I'll just bring you some." I've met so many people on Facebook and internet that said they've been having these ailments, different things. I said, "I'll bring you some. I'll bring you some. Just try it." Because the thing is, also in our space of ministry, leaving school, I didn't know exactly what I would be doing.
Diane
And
Bailey says, what else is Seamoss good for?
inflammation. So the thing is, our bodies allegedly need, some folks say 102 nutrients and elements, some say 103. but the Seamoss has about 92,
90,
93 of
yep.
the essential elements that the body needs in one source. So it's good for inflammation. It's good for our digestive tract. It's good for skin. It's good for hair. I can't think of, and it's good for phlegm if you have respiratory problems. I have some folks that had COVID, and we know with COVID, some of the symptoms, you lose your sense of taste and smell. So there have been people who've started to take the sea moss, and they started to see that their sense of taste has come back, their sense of smell has come back. Oh, I also make a sea moss laxative. There are folks that do not go to the bathroom on a daily basis. This helps push the bile through their body. And folks that
Yes.
have been taking it regularly find themselves more frequent, you know. So I notice my skin is clearer, but that's also a combination of eliminating like butters from my diet, being on the plant base, along with the sea moss. I feel more energetic. And even though I have sea moss, sometimes I forget to take it. If I forget it to take it once or twice, my body knows that it didn't have the sea moss. It's something that your body starts to crave because of the nutritional value in the sea moss. Let's see. I know folks that use it. I was just telling Sheila prior to coming on to the broadcast that I have some folks that make hair conditioners with the sea moss. They make different skincare products because you can mix sea moss and take things like honey, sea salt, create scrubs and exfoliate your face.
Mm-hmm.
It just has so many. You know, we have smartphones. I tell folks just Google sea moss, and the whole list of stuff will
It's so
just come up.
true. It's so
It's
true. And it's tasteless, right? So
it's
people be like,
tasteless
oh,
and
how does it
odorless.
taste? There is no taste. You can
There is
literally
no
take spoonfuls out the jar in the morning and just take a scoop. It is tasteless, but the benefit is so worth it.
I have some here I wanted to show the viewers. When sea moss comes from right
Yes.
now, I'm
And
just
that's
telling
what
you,
it right. I'm so glad you got it out.
yes,
Yes.
you can see it. This is harvested and then it's dried by the sun. So it almost feels very much like a loofah sponge that you
Yeah.
have on a stick and you can scrub your back with. What activates is once you put it in the water and soak it, and then you start to blend it and what have you. But this is what it's supposed to look like.
Right. That's
Not
what it
white
is.
and chalky like dough when you take it out the box.
Yes.
This
And
is
so
moss
you
gold.
have and you have that's why I say you've taken it to another level, right? Now I know that I've had the sea moss with the elderberry and
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, but you have now made, I mean, you have a whole menu of different flavors, different ingredients, different talk about some of the added benefits that you put in the sea moss in terms
Mm-hmm.
of flavors and specific things, arthritis.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, definitely neuropathy. I have people, some seniors that get CMOS from me, and they're dealing with neuropathy, and they take a lot of gabapentin. I know
yes,
people are
I was
very
on that. I had to
familiar,
come off.
and these folks have come off of it because they've been taking the CMOS daily, which is amazing because we
Yes.
know some of the side effects of that gabapentin when it comes to, nerve
Oh,
damage.
I had to
And
stop. And
yeah.
it's a bad, bad, bad thing. It swelled me up. I didn't know
Hmm.
why my body, my legs and my
And you
feet. I was
retain
like,
water.
why,
Yeah.
what am I was like, what is going on? But I had nerve damage. So it was like,
Hmm.
what, I can't stop. And then it got to
Hmm.
the point I was gaining. I was like, no, I can't take this anymore. And as
Hmm.
soon as I got off of it, my feet went down.
And your plant-based diet,
My
all of
plant,
it.
oh, now my plant, forget it. Forget
Forget
it.
it.
So yeah, I mean, I still have other little issues, but we're going
Hmm.
to talk off camera because I know I've been trying to get to you to get
Hmm.
mine, but I need mine on rotation.
Yeah.
I need it coming because once you get it, you need to just keep it as part of keep it in
Regimen.
your fridge. Right, right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the thing is, if you look in terms of, and this is why, honestly, getting to the fruits and different things
Yes,
incorporated.
yes.
I never wanted to do all that, but I had to make it palatable for folks that said, "Oh, I can't swallow anything that, doesn't have a taste or flavor." So the introduction of infusing it with different fruits was to get people to at least try it.
Right.
So that's where the whole fruit infused business came from. But honestly, what I would like folks to do, I've even gotten to the point where I clean it, wash it, and freeze it and sell it to folks like that, because I want you to experience putting it in the blender and infusing it with whatever you want.
Yes.
Because you have to make it part of your daily regimen, just like getting up and brushing your teeth. I think we spend too much time on, we make things a ritual for our outer appearance. Like, we're not going to go outside without combing our hair, brushing our teeth, put a little lip gloss on. You have to do the same thing with things that are going to make you feel good on the inside, because everything is a medication fix.
Right.
And when you look back on our ancestors, they didn't take all this medication.
No,
They
not at all.
they got the medication through the food.
Yes, absolutely.
And even doctors who prescribe the medication, they even know the benefits of this thing, but they're not in the business of telling you to go holistic.
No, they
Because
lose
don't
too
want to
much
make
money. Lose too much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a lot of success stories. And you're deep in now, but I think that the passion has turned on now with what started out as what we talked about, but now because you've watched how you've healed people through Seamoss, this now, as you know, and is part of ministry now, the healing, the Jehovah Rapha type thing, letting God, the God that healeth thee, be inside of everything that you provide. I mean, the Seamoss, like I said, I just see the brand going in so many different things, like throat lozenges and, for sore throats and for singers and, all types of different ways that you can go. And it's so pure. It's so pure. And I'm so glad that God connected you with the right distributor, because I know for a fact that like, especially when COVID hit, everybody who was trying to sell Seamoss, they knew nothing about the benefits. They would, like you said, it was so much fraudulent stuff out there, and people weren't getting better. They weren't getting better at all.
And I'll tell you this, and even the holistic and nutritionist place that knew about Seamoss, at the in the middle of COVID, there was no Seamoss to be gotten, because the other thing is, around that time coming in our fall is tropical storm season in the tropics, and sometimes the whole farm of Seamoss gets totally wiped out.
Hi, My Vivid Life. She says hello to Sheila and her cast. This is a good friend of mine who has a YouTube channel. Those of you that are here, please go and subscribe to My Vivid Life. I'm asking you, and while you're right there, hit that subscribe and like button right now. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Yes.
And, it's just, I think we have to take more agency in our wellness.
Yes.
And ask questions. So I still buy Seamoss, shakes if I'm out and about from, juice bars I stumble across. But what I do differently now, I said, do you have Seamoss? Can you show me your supply raw? And, people are afraid to say, look, this is my Seamoss. They want to show it off.
Listen.
That's a real thing. Blend me up. But if somebody tells me, look, I can't show you nothing or whatever, I'm like, okay.
Do you have any Seamoss near you now? The jars?
In the jars?
Yeah.
You know what, Sheila? I do not. What I do on Fridays, I go out and make my deliveries during the day.
Okay.
So
I see you have your truck packed.
So tomorrow, what I will do is blend, and I will put them in the jars. I'm working on my whole line of marketing. So I will show you what I do have. I just got the prototype for my packaging.
Show me. This is awesome. You guys, this is awesome.
So My,
Ask questions in the
Rhea
chat.
is,
Just send Lisa
I
some
will say,
questions.
Rhea is very fabulous with marketing. So she
Yes, she
sent me
is.
this in the mail, and this is a photograph. This is the markup.
Oh,
Let's see. Let me go this way.
there it
This
is
is
right there. Oh,
the
yes.
markup of what the packaging will look like. So
Nice.
she's into presentation. So I say, what is this box? And she's
You know
like,
your daughter.
yeah.
That's her lane.
Yeah, so this is the logo and what the packaging is going to look like. So I'm very excited about that.
You should be. And
And
I love the signage. The signage is beautiful.
and she just goes crazy with it. So she shows me what my embroidery is going to look like. So I'm like, oh, you want me to just have Seamoss stuff all over the house? So she embroiders stuff for me.
It's beautiful.
I have, denim shirts with the logo. She's like, Mommy, everything's in the branding. It's in the branding.
It's in the brand. You
So,
know, follow her lead with that.
yeah,
Kelly
so she
says,
knows what
very
she's
nice
doing.
presentation.
Yeah, so I have other pillows with logos. I have some shirts. She's like, you have to wear your uniform, your
Yes.
your
You
apron.
know your daughter. That's her lane now. So
That's her lane. So you let these young people do their thing. So I'm happy with how things are progressing. So
Diane says, how do you order?
So, Diane, I'm gonna connect you with the link. The website will be launching December. We will have a launch party for the website. But right now, I am delivering to my customers because the one thing, and I know you know this, Sheila, is we kind of old school. We like to connect with our customers and be tangible.
Yes.
Some of the new marketing is like you don't know who you buying from. Everything is internet.
Yes.
Even though I'm going to incorporate this technology, I want people to be able to call and say, Lisa, this is what's going on with me. And
Yes.
when I don't know something, I call the folks in St. Lucia that know. They say you mix this with a little this and that, and just tell them to take it. You'll be fine.
So Diane, so being that the website is launching, you connect. We'll get you some. Because she's in
we're
Charlotte.
friends on Facebook.
She's in Charlotte now. She's in Charlotte.
And I'll send her some.
Yeah.
Girl,
So
box me, girl. I'm gonna throw that box in the mail tomorrow. I ship out every Saturday. But you know what, Sheila? What's interesting about the product? I have enough to last 2 years. God has blessed me with being able to get my import and my supply. And I tell people, if you're interested, if you're out of town somewhere and you want to do something to supplement your income, hit me up because it's enough for everybody.
Yes.
Because the idea is not so much, it's about the entrepreneurship and what have you. But for me, it's also, I always wanted to be in businesses that help people. From when I used to do the child care business, helping people get home-based child care business.
No Republic.
No Republic. You know the gamut. But it's always been to help. I see people now that I remember when they were too scared to speak and start their little daycare business. Some of these women have 2 and 3 locations.
You are a starter. You are. That is so true. That's the other hat that you have worn. And you're so many women, single parents and whatever, that are out in these streets now with their businesses because you pushed them. You gave classes. You gave them the courage. You gave them the tools and the resources. That's why I said it's so much to you. You're a giver.
And you don't realize how you can change the trajectory of a family's life by having them able to sustain their self. And when I think back and I look at families who started in their home, and I remember the husbands that said, oh, no kids coming up in here, blah, blah, blah. And they did it anyway. But when they saw them checks coming, the husband's like, I'll do the pickup. I'll drive the car. I'll go pick them up after school.
Yes.
They become part of the business. The children start cleaning up after the business. So when your children see you in an entrepreneurial stage, they mimic what they see.
Absolutely.
These women have gone on to buy homes or just be able to afford a car, be able to sustain themselves.
I remember.
That's life-changing.
I remember that. You're giving classes. I mean, you're a giver. You have the heart of God to see women and families succeed and to telling people, you have it in you. Sometimes we just need what we call sometimes a fire starter.
Yeah.
We need a fire starter in our lives sometimes we can get dull, and sometimes we can have dreams that we're sitting on. We can have ambitions that we think we no longer can do because we've gotten older. And so someone has to come along and be the fire starter again, because again, as long as you wake up and vision is in you, God gives you the ability to do it.
But I'll tell you this, Sheila, what I learned, when we were doing all these types of things, what I realize now, how important entrepreneurship is in the Black community, and it needs to be. It doesn't matter if you have a job. We always had the side hustle, but now the last 3 years or so, or even through the Trump administration, we see how embedded systemic racism is in different organizations, governments, what have you. So it's almost like you don't have a choice sometimes as a Black individual. We have to start creating platforms for ourselves, because who would have ever thought the the Black movements of lately, now we have companies looking at us saying, oh, we better get on board with Black Lives Matter, because they understand our buying power. And we need to understand our buying power and the value of our dollar, because I haven't seen so many Black people on commercials and stuff in the last 2 years, because we have value and we have to make ourselves count.
Yes, absolutely. We have to make ourselves count. That's a strong statement. That is so true.
Yeah. So you wanted to take our little micro loan to start a business, run to the bank. If you look at chocolate,
right.
They obligated at this, you have to, it's an opportunity for everything, and you have to seize those moments to level the playing field.
Yes. So this has been an awesome chat. I know, oh my God, so rich, Lisa, so rich. And again, I want you back. We can talk in December once you launch. Have a launch party right here.
Yes. And that brick and mortar comes along. Yes.
That brick and mortar comes along. There you go. It is coming. It is coming. And so can you tell our viewers your IG page, your handle, also how to get in touch with you to order, so that they can be part of the shipment that you do each week?
Yes. So we're on Instagram. We're the Seamoss Factory. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Just go to Instagram, the Seamoss Factory. We're still in development. Ria's working on all those platforms.
Hey, Marcia, buying power. Hey, sis.
But I tell you, you know how we do it in the hood. People should get on your Facebook and inbox you with a message and be like, girl, send me 2 jars. I make my little route and keep it moving. So
yeah, I saw your truck. You had your back of your SUV was packed with boxes.
Yeah, that was the last shipment. That was 25 pounds of Seamoss.
Yes.
20 boxes of 25 pounds of Seamoss. So that's the backup supply. But they're in the tropics. They're out of storm season now, so we're good. But we got plenty of more. So if anyone wants to start a small business or thinking about getting into it, the whole idea is this: experience, make it. It's nothing to make.
It's easy.
Do what you need to do for your body by taking the base product, the Seamoss, and we're starting to work on, because flu season is coming, all these things. So we're going to do different mixes now for the immune system, with bladderwrack, the elderberry, some of these other great herbs and spices we're doing. I just linked up with a local bee farmer in New Jersey. I have bottles of fresh honey.
Right? Yeah. Oh, I saw your honey. Right. You have honey now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a local bee farmer that's giving us pure bee honey with no added ingredients or anything.
Yes.
Folks don't know, when you get pure bee honey, it never goes bad.
Yes, I only buy the good stuff. You spend a lot for it, but
there's no expiration date on it.
Yes. So, the place that I frequent a lot, Curacao, has a lot of Seamoss.
Yes.
My home, my second home.
Yes. So
because I met a girl in LA, my daughter's neighbor, and she has boxes outside the door. She makes Seamoss. I
Let
mean,
me
she
tell
makes
you,
runs to the post office. She's killing it.
she's
Making it in
killing it.
her kitchen. It's her lab, and she's just
Wait, I'm not even going to show it. On the top of my cabinets between the mason jars, I have some juice bars. Some still like the masons. We switched over to plastic bottles for our labeling and for easier shipping. But whatever folks prefer, I'll give it to them the way they prefer it. But like I said, now we can ship clean and pre-frozen. So all you have to do is thaw it out and throw it in that blender.
Can someone in the chat write, is the Seamoss Factory on IG, right? Is
Hmm.
that your handle?
Yes,
Can
the
someone in the
Seamoss
chat
Factory.
type that for me so it can remain in the chat?
Hmm.
The Seamoss Factory on
Hmm.
Instagram, on IG.
Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I'm so
Yes,
excited.
I am just. This was a wonderful way to spend a Friday night.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
awesome. We're gonna have you back in December. Have a second wherever you do your launch. We're gonna do the launch
Yeah.
party right here live,
Love it. Love
and
it. Love it.
just yeah. And so I'm sure some of the people that are on now are going to get in touch with you. I know Diane is. Once Diane asks you, how can I order? She's listen. She's gonna do it because
Tell
that's her
her
thing.
hers practically in the mail.
Yeah, she's definitely going to do it. And
Hmm.
I'm sure other people are going to tap in and keep this as a part of their diet. The
Right.
plant-based food out here is so delicious.
It is.
I'm looking to open a plant-based restaurant. So
Woo!
I'm calling you so we could,
That's awesome.
do a
That's awesome.
consultation on it and chat about it. I really, really, I find that's deep in my heart to
That
do
is
that.
so needed. That is so needed in our community.
Absolutely,
Oh wow.
absolutely. So we're going to I want you to leave the platform. I want to yield the floor to you. Those of you that are on, I know you already hit subscribe and like and share. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I really, really appreciate the fact that you stopped by tonight and hung out with
Yeah.
us tonight. And we just want you to take that right hand and that left hand, place it on your heart, your mind, or your soul, wherever you need it, and give yourself a bravo just
Yeah.
because. And you do not need permission. Stay tuned for our next week. We have some incredible guests coming up. I'll be posting who's going to be on the platform. On Saturdays at 12 o'clock noon, I'm on Kingdom Purpose
Mhm.
TV. I'm on that channel now. It's
Mhm.
kingdompurposetv.com, 12 o'clock every Saturday. It's a Christian platform. I've been on for now 2 Saturdays. So that's the
Right.
place where I can really get into the teaching of the word
Yeah.
and that lane that God has called me to. This platform is for us. It is a platform for women. If there's anything that you'd like to talk about, any topic that you'd like to talk about, please email me at bravowithsheila@gmail.com. Let's just break it down. Let's just break it down and just become this community on these YouTube streets, as I say. And so my vivid life, she has been the person who has really mentored me and got me up on the platform. I know we have to have a training. She texted me the other day. She said, it's time for another training. Some
Yeah.
things I got to teach you. She's a beautiful, beautiful individual. Please subscribe to her channel, My Vivid Life. She's out of
Mhm.
Florida. And
Oh wow.
so, Lisa, I hope someone did type it in the chat. I don't see it. Let me see. I see 2 new comments. Did someone? Yep. Marcia
Mhm.
put it in. Yep, she did it. And the Seamoss Factory. Yes, that's it, Marcia. And so Diane says, bravo, and bravo to all of you out there. I want to yield the floor to you, my dear sister. And I want you to leave with the word of encouragement to whoever, whether it's a male or female, it doesn't matter. Tonight, we're
Mhm.
talking about wealth and health, and we're talking about getting yourself right, but encourage the women to get up and do something different. I always say, do something you haven't done before. Pivot a little bit. You might think like, wow, I should, I'm home. I can make some CMOS. I
Mhm.
know a community of people.
Mhm.
It's about getting your people healthy. You may say, oh, it's easy to make. I'm serious. Really
Really
easy.
easy.
You get a sidebar.
Go to YouTube.
Lisa.
There's so many people who show you how to make it. It's so easy. We have
Yes.
to use the technology that's available. You can
Yes.
learn anything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I yield the floor to you, my sister.
You know what? I want to say thank you to you and your audience. And in terms of moving forward, keeping it moving, I had to reset how I think. And I didn't let trials and tribulations get in my way. I just changed how I thought about the trials and tribulations. I said, they're coming because I'm on point. They coming because I'm about to be somebody fabulous.
Right.
So you pick yourself up and keep moving. Because when you keep moving, whether you know the path you're going, you're going to run into the people, places, and things that you need for your vision to come to fruition. You know, I always joke about, how our grandparents used to say, wait on the Lord, wait on the Lord. No, don't wait on the Lord. The Lord waiting on you to get moving so he can send everything in the atmosphere in your direction.
Yeah.
Because I think we develop a codependency on the Lord in the sense of we waiting for God to do it for us.
Yes.
When this is a code.
Yes. That's cool.
We are partners. So God said, you take a step, I'm going to take a step. We're doing this together.
Yes.
But if you're sitting down waiting on me, I'm going over to the next person until you're ready to get up and get walking because you got to be moving.
Yes.
You know? And it makes me think. I go back and reread the stories in the Bible because everyone who followed God's directive didn't know where they was going. They went on faith.
They didn't have a clue.
They didn't have a clue.
No.
They didn't have a clue. But they had trust and they had faith and they had belief in what they heard.
Right.
And they kept it moving.
They kept it moving.
They kept it moving.
Yes.
They kept it moving. When you used to say that to me back in the day, I was like, what is Sheila talking about? I can't even think. I can't breathe. She want me to move. I don't know what I'm doing. Keep it moving. I want to get in the bed and put the cover over my head. Now I understand what you used to say so many years ago into today. Keep it moving because everything you need is going to show up.
Right.
Nobody said it was going to be even. So I remember just moving along. You said, keep it moving.
Keep it moving because when nothing changes, When nothing changes. So you got to keep it moving.
Yeah, you got to keep it moving.
You have to.
And what it makes you think about, if I didn't get up and move today, I wouldn't have met this missing piece to what I need. Or I wouldn't have ran into this opportunity.
That's good.
I didn't get up and post today. I didn't get that order.
That's good. That's good.
Gotta keep it moving.
That's so good. Wow, that's good. That's a great note to end it on. Listen, all you sisters out there, all of you wonderful people in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Diane says amen. Bravo, bravo. Buying powder, very nice presentation. All of those wonderful comments. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us tonight. And so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there for more of Bravo with Sheila. Hit me up at bravowithsheila@gmail.com. Remember to give yourself a Bravo just because, and you don't need permission. I'll see you soon. Lisa, don't move. I'm going to play this and say goodnight. Good night, everyone. Stay there, Lisa.